as we go through grad school, people tell us, I love physical therapy because you can change settings at any point, but it is way harder than it sounds because there's an emotional component to it. It's not just looking at the dollar sign and can that be different? It's not just looking at my commute to work, can that be different? It's looking at how am I affected? How is my family affected? How is my bridge with that old company affected? So really making sure, that I was being in a position that I was present, accounted for, giving 100%, even in the times that I couldn't quite give 100%, which is normal life. You have colleagues you can rely on, or managers that can, take up some of the slack to help you out. When I started recognizing that it wasn't serving me and what I want to do with my career, I started that period of, okay, what's my exit strategy per se? Is there something I want to start looking for just to see what the options are while I'm still in this position? Do I want to stop working, have an interim period, and then go into something else later just for breathing time? So it's all dependent on what you need. But if you can really build strong your value of what you're looking for in your career and making it serve you, then that's really all that matters. Because someone may have a job that you think is cool, but you never envision yourself in, and that would never serve you, even though it's like the coolest job in the world. So you need to make sure it's serving you and all of the parts of you in order to feel the happiest.
That's really about introspection. That's funny you bring that up because we're actually about to release a quiz tomorrow about your primary motivation in physical therapy and whether you're motivated by leadership or by money or by learning or by serving your patients. And I think that's important to take into consideration when you take a job, because some people never ever consider money as a factor. It's just not a consideration. Maybe they didn't have loans or they just simply don't care. But other people, it's the primary consideration. And that's going to really affect your entire career. So even if money is your primary consideration, it still might be worth taking the kind of job that at the beginning doesn't pay as much, but it's going to grow you into this professional where eventually you can have speaking engagements. And so those are just all things to consider. What from your perspective, as far as leaving a job, is the most professional and mature way to do it?
I definitely know if it's a big hospital system, it is a mixed notion that you can just pick up and leave whenever you want because there's someone recycling in right behind you, high turnover of staff, things like that. However, in the medical field, understanding we're working with people, we're not just stopping whatever we're building on the conveyor belt and someone else is filling our position. We have so many relationships of people that we've touched that you have to consider the patient as well. And I think sometimes we forget this is patient-centered care. So you have to look at who are all the people I need to make sure are taken care of. Is that going to take 1 week because I only have a small caseload? I'm per diem 2 days a week. Is it 4 weeks because I have 4 weeks of a whole caseload full-time outpatient that my company needs to hire in a new person who can quickly get mentored, quickly get rapport with the new patients. Oftentimes I like to, if it's offered, I like to do kind of like an interim period where maybe there's a week or even 2 if they're generous, where you can orient the new person taking over for you, the patients and their roles, and that's really generous, but there are some outpatient settings that offer that as something they think is valuable. We're letting someone move on, but we want to also be able to give some value to the person coming in by taking advantage of that symbiotic time, more or less.
Yeah, I had that going into a clinic once. It was great.
So I would say 4 weeks is somewhere between, I'm putting in my 2 weeks and I'm just belaboring the fact that maybe it's an emotional thing and your negativity of even being there is going to start infecting the rest of the coworkers. Maybe it's an assignment that a husband has in the military and you have a certain perspective, but you got to get out with a reasonable time, but not so much time that you're also dragging other people down if you're not fully present. So I would say 4 weeks.
Perfect.